Welcome back, folks. My name is Ty. This is the GoTyGo channel on Blooming Entertainment, and we're signing on for the first time as a Boston qualifier. We got it done. Got the job done. Barely, but got it done nonetheless. Super exciting day. I do want to thank my beautiful wife, Giselle, for all the support as I've gotten back into running and the craziness that it's brought to our lives. I want to thank my parents for being there, for dropping us off at the bus early in the morning. Brought back a lot of memories. But just a great day. Super excited that I was able to hit that first goal of sub 3 hours qualifying for Boston. But there's so much more left in the tank. I'm hungrier than ever. I'm so excited to get back into training, and I'm excited to tell you what's coming next. But first, let's dive into the day and how it went. All right, so as I pull the splits up here and we look at how the day went, from the moment that I woke up to the moment that the gun went off, I felt like the day went exactly how I had visualized it. The one thing that was a little thrown off was up at the start line. The lines for the porta potties were pretty crazy, and so that threw off my warm-up times just slightly. But ultimately, I felt like I did get to the start line. I felt warm, I felt composed, I felt confident, I felt like I belonged, which was important, and that carries over into the first few miles of the race. And those first few miles were incredible. There was more talk amongst runners than I thought there would be. And that's where I felt like, gosh, man, I do belong up here with these guys and I can compete with these guys. The pace wasn't as quick as I thought it was going to be after we settled in after that first mile with the particular group that I was kind of hanging with. And so I thought a negative split day was actually in the cards. I thought it was going to be a negative split day. And that quickly changed when I hit the wall. And for me, it was around 22, 23. But I came in for the first half marathon at an hour 25. So again, if I could have held on to that or negative split it, then that was my sub 250 that I was aiming for. But like I said, we're going to dive into what happened towards the end of the race. And ultimately, I'm kind of going back to nutrition. I'm wondering if my fueling was off. Ultimately, like, my stomach felt amazing through the entire race. My heart rate felt amazing through the entire race. It was just the wall. When I hit mile 22, going on to mile 23, started to get quite a bit of like quivering and pulsating in some of my hamstring and calf muscles. Twice I was completely locked up in like a Charlie horse type position. And then that's where everything changed. That is where everything changed mentally for me. And so let's dive into that. So with just these few miles left and we're cramping, we're grabbing, there was something that came to my mind. And I failed to mention this in my last video when I was talking about some of my big influences, especially in the world of running. Over the last year, one of my biggest influences has been Nick Bare and the Bare Performance Nutrition. Great supplements, Go One More, huge fan. And Nick Bare is on a podcast, I believe, and he's talking about his Buffalo Marathon where he ran a sub 250. And he talks about there were so many people on his team and so many people behind him that this was such a team thing, but he just happened to be the one who was out there executing. And in those last few miles for him, he was hitting the wall and his hamstring was grabbing as well. And he talks about in that moment that he made a clear decision that he was going to run through that cramping. And he didn't care if it tore his hamstring, he was not going to stop. And I can directly relate to that because that's exactly where my head went. And I prepared for this. I wore all black to this race because I'd made a decision months ago that this race would represent a funeral. It was going to be a funeral for the past mentality that I've had, that quitting mentality when things get hard. I knew that this was going to be a defining moment, that things were going to be different. And so as I'm sitting there and I'm grabbing and I'm trying to get moving, I made the same decision that I did not care if I tore something. I was not going to stop moving. And then for the next few miles went to a very dark place. And time is such an illusion. Time is such an illusion. For that first half marathon flew. Those last 3 miles were the longest 3 miles I've ever ran of my life. And I know I'm going to look back at this race and this will be a pivotal moment for my mindset and the shift as we move forward. And then on to the aftermath. And I thanked my parents and my wife once. I should thank them again because they had to deal with me after the race, which I know is not fun. We were pretty miserable for a minute, cramping, nervous system was pretty shocked, a little bit of vomiting, just going back and forth between burning up hot and then freezing cold. So it just took a minute before my body could regulate that again. And then when we eventually got home, I was soaking in the tub and I was watching videos that were captured from the finish line. And that's when all the emotions surfaced. But it felt really, really good to just sit and bask in those emotions, because again, I know down the line I'm going to look back and this will be a pivotal moment in my life. And so it felt incredible. In all the pain and all the suffering, it felt incredible to think back and to relive it over and over the rest of that day, and just telling myself, you will not forget this moment. You will not forget this moment. Do not forget what this feels like. And it was incredible. All right, but to wrap this up, official results, 2 hours, 59 minutes, 49 seconds. We qualified for Boston. Need to get signed up for Boston. This was over a 17-minute PR, so that's incredible. Absolutely incredible, especially knowing that we've only been back for 40 weeks after taking a good 5 years off from running. So just scratching the surface, excited for what's next. The rest of this week, no plan, just gonna go off feel. Whatever I feel like doing every day, I'm gonna do. And then starting next week, we're in a 10-week training block for our first ultra marathon. It's the Kirkwood Ultras in California, 100 kilometers, 62 miles. We're excited, super excited to get on the trails, super excited to start increasing the strength training, make sure we're ready for this ultra. And then after that, I'm gonna do something very similar to how I prepared for Ogden, and I'm gonna do 2 training blocks back to back. That'll prepare us for Boston, where we go sub 2:45 is the plan. Guys, I appreciate you joining me on this journey. I'm excited for the next chapter of the journey. If you have a chance, check out these videos over here. Jet, he's out there training, getting ready for his first marathon, so we have a lot of good content. We appreciate your support, and we're excited for the next chapter.